There comes a moment in every life. A moment when the noise becomes unbearable, not just the noise outside, but the noise within, the endless questions, the chasing, the doubt, the fear. And in that moment, a still, quiet invitation arrives, not shouted, not demanded, but whispered. Gently, persistently, come home. It is not the voice of the world, not the voice of your childhood programming, not the expectations of society, family, religion, or even your own mind. It is older, deeper, wiser, and it offers you something sacred, a choice, not just any choice, but the most important decision you will ever make. Will you continue to live the life that was scripted for you, or will you begin to write your own? This is not about rebellion. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be, because long before the labels, before the disappointments, before the masks you wear each day, there was you, whole, clear, silent, aware. And the decision is not between success or failure, not between being good or bad. It is between being awake or remaining asleep. Will you continue to sleepwalk through your days, driven by survival, habits, and fear? Or will you awaken even if it hurts to the truth of your being, the truth that you are not your past, you are not your wounds, you are not your story, you are the witness to it all, you are the space behind it, you are the light that has never gone out, not even in your darkest hour. Is the decision the one that no one can make for you? Not your teacher, not your partner, not your guru, not even God. Because the divine waits not with punishment, not with pressure, but with presence. It waits for your yes. And that yes changes everything. Not instantly, not in fireworks or grand transformations, but in small sacred shifts. You start to pause. You start to listen. You begin to see not with your eyes but with your heart. You see how long you've run, how much you've fought, how deeply you've yearned for something that was always within. And when you say yes to this path of returning, the path of remembering, this path of truth, you are no longer living by default. You are living by design, the design of ego, but the design of spirit. You wake up and realize you do not have to be everything for everyone. You do not have to chase love. You do not have to carry what was never yours. You can lay it down. You can breathe again. You can begin not as a new person, but as the real one you were always meant to be. And so the question returns, again and again, will you live asleep, or will you awaken? Because awakening isn't a destination, it's a decision, 1,000 times a day to be present, to be honest, to be soft in a hard world, to choose healing over hiding, stillness over stimulation, compassion over control. And in making that choice again and again, you walk yourself home, not to a place, but to the deepest center of your being, where peace was never missing, where love was never gone, where God was never absent, only hidden behind the noise, the wounds, the defenses. But now you are ready, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing, and that willingness is holy. It's the seed of transformation. It's the altar on which your old self is laid down, and your true self begins to rise, not in arrogance, but in gentleness, not in rush, but in reverence. So pause with me, just for a moment, close your eyes, inhale deeply, and as you exhale, whisper to yourself, I am ready. Let that whisper be your offering. Let it be your prayer. Let it be your return, because this is the most important decision of your life. To come home, to truth, to self, to God, to now. What does it mean to come home? It doesn't mean arriving at a place. It means returning to a presence, a way of being that was never really gone, only forgotten. Coming home is not about changing your name, your job, your appearance, or your location. It's about shedding what was never truly yours, and standing, naked, open, honest in the light of your own soul. We spend so much of our lives chasing things, approval, security, perfection. We learn early on that love seems to come with conditions. Be good, try harder, don't make mistakes, do what you're told. And so we adapt, we play roles, we shrink ourselves to fit the boxes others made for us. We think that if we are obedient enough, kind enough, polished enough, we'll finally be worthy. But all that effort, all that control, only creates distance. Distance from others, distance from peace, distance from ourselves. And eventually, no matter how successful we look, how many goals we check off, something inside us begins to ache. Not for more achievement, not for more validation, but for truth, real, unfiltered, holy truth, the kind of truth that doesn't come from books or gurus but from silence, from stillness, from sitting alone with your breath and asking, who am I, really? And at first, there's fear. Fear of what you might find. Fear that maybe there's nothing there, but stay a little longer. Breathe. You'll begin to feel it, not as a thought, but as a quiet knowing, deeper than emotion, deeper than logic, that you are not your performance. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are presence. You are awareness. You are the one who watches it all. And when you begin to live from that place, that space behind the roles, you begin to walk in peace. Not the peace that depends on outcomes, but the peace that says, even if I have nothing, I am still enough. Even if others don't understand me, I can understand myself. Even if the path is unclear, I can trust each step. This is the decision you're being asked to make, not once in a lifetime, but over and over, moment by moment. To stop abandoning yourself for the sake of comfort, to stop betraying your truth just to be accepted, to stop performing and start being. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary, because this world thrives on your self-doubt. Entire industries are built on convincing you that you are broken, lacking, not enough. But what if, just for today, you chose not to believe them? What if you looked in the mirror and saw not a project to be fixed, but a soul to be honored? What if you stopped trying to become, and started remembering who you already are, a sacred being, a quiet miracle, a walking piece of the divine? You don't need to be louder, brighter, or more perfect. You just need to be true. True to your intuition, true to your boundaries, true to your softness, true to your wildness, true to the little voice inside that says, this isn't who I am. This isn't the life I came here to live. There must be more than this. Asterisk. And there is. There is more peace, more depth, more love. But it will never be found in the noise. It lives in the stillness, in the breath, in the sacred pause, between moments where you choose not to run but to remain, to stay, to feel, to trust, even when it's uncomfortable. Even when the old patterns scream for attention. Even when the ego says, this is a waste of time. Because beneath that discomfort is liberation. The kind of freedom that can't be bought, can't be faked, can't be taught, only chosen, and that is the most important decision of your life. There's a moment in every life, usually quiet, often unnoticed, where something shifts, not outside, but within. It's the moment you stop trying to become someone, and start allowing yourself to become no one. Not in the sense of disappearing, but in the sense of dissolving every false identity you've built to survive. Because for most of us, survival came before truth. We adapted, we learned to please, to perform, to pretend. We wore the masks others handed us, the strong one, the smart one, the nice one, the successful one. We wore them so long we forgot they were masks. We forgot there was a face underneath. Soft, raw, human. And yet, in quiet moments, that face tries to return. You feel it when you're tired of pretending, when your laughter feels hollow, when your dreams don't taste like freedom anymore. You feel it in the ache, not the kind of ache that screams, but the one that whispers. There must be something more than this. And there is. But it's not found in more striving. It's found in surrender. Surrender is not giving up, it's giving in. To what's real, to what's true, to what's yours. You cannot create peace through force. You cannot build a life that feels whole by constantly fixing yourself, because you were never broken. You were simply misled. Told to look outward, to measure your worth by metrics that change with every trend, to chase a life that looks good on paper but feels empty in the soul. And when you finally see that, really see it, the choice becomes clear. You can keep chasing, or you can choose something different. Stillness, honesty, presence. You can choose to sit with yourself, not to judge, not to fix, just to see, to witness the parts of you that have been silenced, the parts that never got the love they needed, the parts that have been waiting patiently, painfully to be held. Because healing is not about becoming better, it's about becoming more you. The you that was buried beneath expectations, the you that still cries when no one's looking, the you that remembers how to dream without permission. This is your return, your resurrection, your real life beginning, not when you achieve something great, but when you remember something eternal. That you are already enough right now as you are. No edits, no mask, no performance. This truth is radical because it's so rare, but it is the anchor that steadies you through every storm. It is the breath that calms your racing heart. It is the ground beneath your feet when everything else falls apart. And here's the mystery: when you finally stop trying to be something you're not, you start becoming something sacred, not because you're extraordinary, but because you're real. And in this world so addicted to illusion, realness is a revolution. So let this be your quiet rebellion to rest, to feel, to cry without shame, to walk away from what no longer honors you, to speak kindly to yourself when no one else does. To build a life that honors the truth of your soul, even if no one claps for it, because your soul doesn't need applause. It needs permission. Permission to feel joy, even in small, quiet ways. Permission to say no, even when it disappoints others. Permission to not have it all figured out. Permission to begin again and again and again. That's the journey, not a straight line, not a checklist, but a spiral, a coming home again and again to what matters. So ask yourself now, not what should I do, but what feels true. What would my day look like if I followed truth, not pressure? What would my relationships feel like if I honored truth, not obligation? What would my soul say if I finally listened? Not to the voice of fear, not to the voice of ego, but to that quiet inner whisper, the one that says, I am still here. I never left you. We can begin now. And so you do, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because living a life of truth is the most important decision of your life. You will be tempted over and over to abandon yourself. Sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically. You'll be tempted to silence your truth, to keep the peace, to shrink your needs, to feel loved, to hide your pain so others don't feel uncomfortable. And every time you do, a small part of you disappears. At first, it doesn't seem like much. You become quieter, more agreeable, more easy to be around. But inside you start to fade. Your light dims, your laughter dulls, your reflection becomes unfamiliar. And if you go long enough without choosing yourself, you forget how. You forget how to speak up. You forget how to ask for what you need. You forget how to recognize the sound of your own inner voice. You live, but you don't feel alive. That is not what you came here for. You did not come here to betray yourself for the comfort of others. You did not come here to play small so others can feel big. You did not come here to be everything for everyone, while becoming nothing for yourself. You came here to remember your worth, to remember your voice, to remember your sacred place in this world. This remembering is not loud. It doesn't announce itself with thunder. It happens in quiet acts of bravery, saying no when your body says no, resting when the world says hustle, walking away from what doesn't honor your soul. It happens when you stop abandoning yourself and start coming back, again and again, to your center, coming back to your breath, to your truth, to the version of you that existed before the world told you who to be. That version still exists. She's not gone. He's not lost. They're waiting, waiting for you to notice them again, waiting for you to choose them. Not someday, not when things are perfect, but now, because now is all you ever had. Not yesterday's regrets, not tomorrow's worries, but this breath, this choice, this moment. And in this moment, you can decide, I will no longer abandon myself, not for love, not for validation, not for anyone. I will come home again and again, even if I have to crawl through the noise to find the silence, because I'm done pretending I don't need myself. I'm done betraying my inner knowing. I'm done editing who I am so others feel more comfortable. From now on, I choose what's real, even if it's messy, even if it's uncertain, even if no one else understands, because peace is not found in being understood. Peace is found in being honest. Honest with your yes, honest with your no, honest with your fear, your joy, your sadness, your sacred confusion. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to be present with whatever part of you is showing up today. That's enough. In fact, that's more than enough. That's holy, because presence is the foundation of everything sacred. When you are present, you listen differently. You love differently. You walk through the world not trying to fix it, but honoring it. You begin to see the divine not in ideas, but in moments, in the way the sunlight hits your skin after a hard day, in the way a stranger's smile softens your edges, in the way your own breath reminds you that you're still here, still healing, still choosing life. This is the gift, to stop missing your life while chasing one you think you're supposed to have, to pause, to breathe, to remember that the most important decision of your life is not about what you achieve, but how you live, how you love, how you listen to what's real. And what's real is always simple. You are here, you are worthy. You are allowed to choose yourself today and every day after. No apology, no performance, no permission needed. Just presence. Let this be the moment you return to it. There will come a time when you realize you cannot save everyone. You cannot convince someone to see your worth. You cannot carry the weight of every broken thing. That realization will hurt. It will feel like loss. But it's actually the beginning of freedom. Because for too long you've mistaken self-sacrifice for love. You've confused abandonment for compassion. You've worn pain like a badge of honor, thinking it proves how much you care. But no more. You were never meant to drown in other people's storms. You were meant to learn how to swim in your own stillness, and when you do, when you finally choose to stop bleeding for what won't heal, you reclaim something sacred, your energy, your time, your life. You begin to pour into yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of self-respect. You begin to say, I matter too. My needs count. My healing is a priority. And that is not weakness, that is wisdom. Because the world doesn't need more burnt-out souls trying to save everyone. The world needs people who are grounded in themselves so they can serve from overflow, not depletion. Let this be your permission to release the pressure. You are not responsible for everyone's happiness. You are not obligated to shrink just to keep the peace. You do not owe anyone a version of you that no longer feels true. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to want more peace, more depth, more alignment. And yes, more space. Space to breathe. Space to be misunderstood without chasing explanation. Space to grow without apologizing for who you've outgrown. Because growth isn't always graceful. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it looks like letting go of people you love to make room for the person you're becoming. That's okay. Grief is not a sign you've done something wrong. It's a sign that something meaningful has ended. And all endings are sacred. They are the doorway to what comes next. But you must walk through them. Even when it's dark. Even when it's unclear. Even when your heart aches with the weight of what you're leaving behind. Because the other side of letting go is becoming someone who honors their energy. Becoming someone who trusts their timing. Becoming someone who no longer abandons themselves for approval. This is the most important decision of your life, to stop waiting for the world to love you back, and start loving yourself so deeply that the world has no choice but to reflect it. That love, real love, begins with honesty, not performance, not perfection, just presence. Can you be honest with yourself? Can you admit when you're tired? Can you admit when something no longer fits? Can you admit that maybe, just maybe, you deserve better? Not later, but now, because honesty is healing. Honesty is holy, and honesty is what opens the door to freedom. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be real. Start where you are. With your trembling voice, with your confused heart, with your messy, beautiful humanity. And speak the truth even if it shakes. Because when you speak your truth, you awaken something powerful. Your voice. And once your voice returns, so does your power, so does your clarity, so does your peace. No more dimming, no more shrinking, no more pretending. You are here to live fully, freely, freely, FEARLESSLY, not in someone else's version of life, not according to someone else's expectations, but in alignment with your soul. This is not selfish, this is sacred, this is not rebellion. This is remembrance, the kind of remembrance that doesn't shout, it whispers. And its whisper says, you are allowed to want more. You are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to start again, again, and again, as many times as it takes. Because life isn't asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be present right here, right now, with what's true, with what's real, with what's yours. What if the most important decision of your life was not what you choose to do, but who you choose to become? Not a title, not a role, but a way of being. What if the real work of your life is not to arrive somewhere successful, but to arrive fully alive? Because the truth is, so many people live asleep. They check the boxes, follow the scripts, perform the roles, and yet something inside them remains untouched, unseen, unspoken. They smile while breaking. They succeed while suffocating. They live, but never feel alive. And that is the quiet tragedy no one talks about. To survive life, but never taste it. But you're waking up. You're starting to see that life isn't about becoming someone impressive. It's about becoming someone authentic. Someone whose presence feels like truth. Someone whose words carry soul. Someone whose silence is safe. That is the real success. To be safe within yourself. Safe to feel. Safe to fall. Safe to not know. To live in such a way that even your mess is sacred. Even your doubts are holy. Even your fear has room to breathe. This is the freedom most people search for in money, status, relationships, but never find. Because it's not out there. It's in here, in the place you've spent years running from. The stillness, the quiet, the now. So stop waiting. Stop waiting for things to settle. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for life to feel perfect before you begin to live it. Begin now. Begin where it's imperfect. Begin where it's awkward. Begin where your heart is still healing. Because waiting is a form of self-abandonment. It says, I am not worthy yet. It says, I must earn peace. It says, one day I'll be enough. But one day is a lie. You are enough now. You are worthy now. You are allowed to live now. Not because everything is perfect, but because it never will be. There will always be noise. There will always be fear. There will always be risk. But there will also always be you, your breath, your choice, your power. The power to choose again, to return again, to begin again. And that is the most important decision of your life. Not a job, not a partner, not a destination, but the decision to come home to yourself, to stop waiting for peace to arrive from outside you and begin cultivating it inside you. Breath by breath, step by step, word by word. Until one day your entire life becomes a reflection of your soul. Not rushed, not forced, but true. And when it's true, it lasts. That kind of life doesn't need validation. It doesn't seek applause. It doesn't fear silence because it's rooted in something deeper than performance. Presence. You are allowed to build your life on that. You are allowed to release everything that no longer honors your truth. And yes, it will be scary. Yes, it might feel lonely. Yes, it might cost you things at once to find you, but it will give you something even greater. Call on yourself, the real you, the free you, the healed you, and that is priceless. So take the leap, not because you have it all figured out, but because your soul is ready to be heard. Let your life be your loudest prayer. Let your decisions become declarations. I choose truth over fear. I choose alignment over approval. I choose life, not survival. You are not here to impress. You are here to express. You are not here to shrink. You are here to shine. So stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for signs. You are the sign. You are the one you've been waiting for, and now it's time to answer your own call. If this message stirred something in you, if it reminded you of what matters most, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, leave a comment, tell us what decision your soul is calling you to make. Share it with someone you love. Subscribe for more truth, more stillness, more presence. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more voices like yours. Real, grounded, awakened. Thank you for being here. Now go live your truth.